So why isn't this a conversation about just serving students with disabilities? Because if we are following universal design for learning, we can help read and we can help ourselves, right? I apologize that the lights are on this a little bit, but here are some 1940s and 1950s noir comic books. Beth is going to give a shot here, okay? Awesome. And we'll have the romantic candlelight dinner afterwards. But my very favorite one here is Dan Taylor, boy detective, battles the vice lords of crime. And every single thing that we looked at before is in here. Here's murder. Here's the lady in the curvy lady in the silk suit. Somebody's smoking in here somewhere. And oh yeah, here's the guy with the cigarettes. And we've got all of those things. There's the fedoras. There's the trench coats. There's even people shooting at guys in lederhosen up in the Alps. I'm not entirely certain what that's all about. But universal design for learning. Here's a little bit of background on UDL. Universal design for learning started about 10 or 12 years ago in hospitals. So my nursing people are going, yeah, it comes from us, right? It started in hospitals as a way of creating training for doctors and nurses and hospital professionals who were already running around like crazy people. And so for those people who were really busy, universal design for learning was a way for them to get information quickly and in the way that they best felt they could understand it. It was a way for them to keep engaged with their professional development. And that's that first one up here, multiple means of learner engagement. The second one, that representing information, that's giving people content in a lot of different ways so they can choose how they interact with it. And then multiple ways for learners to take action or demonstrate their skills. And what we mean by that is giving those doctors and nurses, instead of just taking a 30-minute multiple choice test to demonstrate a skill, they could also demonstrate the skill by actually performing it in front of peers, and if the peers said, yeah, you got it, then they got the check mark for that professional development. Very rapidly, universal design for learning moved out of the medical world and into the K-12 education world. If you work with K-12 teachers, or you're in the teacher education area here, you probably know a lot about universal design for learning, because in K-12 arenas, the state is responsible for educating people with disabilities and identifying which disabilities people might have. So if a second grade teacher notices that somebody is struggling to read something, that might turn into vision tests, that might turn into tests for dyslexia, that might turn into a whole bunch of different inquiries that the school district has to make. Universal design for learning was a way for school districts and individual teachers in the K-12 arena to design their lessons so that students who didn't identify themselves as having disabilities and students who had identified disabilities could still take an equal part in classrooms. In higher education, this is just kind of catching on. A lot of us in the room have heard of it. A lot of us in the room, especially Robert, we see, know how to use it and how to implement it. So awesome examples when we were talking about all these examples. And what I'd like to propose is that universal design for learning, although it started out in that medical model of identifying people with disabilities and then making accommodations for them specifically, universal design for learning, if we adopt it, can help us to avoid having to make those last-minute changes for people with disabilities. I asked that question purposely when Mary Beth and Janet and Rita gave their examples at the beginning of our time together. I asked the question, when did you find out about that? And they all said, like 5 minutes before I needed to do something, right? So, you know, you thought that universal design for learning was just for people with disabilities. UDL is accessibility no matter what. So for your learners who live distant from campus, for your learners who are on military deployments, for your learners who need to have the sound off when they're studying after they put the kids to bed, right? I'll give you a sort of lighthearted example. I love British movies. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, which is the Brad Pitt film that you didn't see, where he plays an Irish boxer. And it's not Fight Club, by the way. And you know, I love those British sort of dark gangster films. And they really are the modern day equivalent of a lot of what Read More Books teaches. And so when I'm watching those movies at home, if I have a character in the movie who's speaking with a very heavy Cockney accent and speaking in Cockney rhyming slang, I cannot follow at all. And you know, oh yeah, how's your father? They're always saying, right? Oh yeah, what he said, okay. I have no idea how the people who caption those movies do it, but they do. And so I turn on the closed captions on those movies. There's nothing wrong with my hearing. So even people who do not identify themselves as having disabilities can benefit from things like those captions. If I had asked my students to watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and they also had problems with the Cockney accent, or I show them a scene from the film, and one of my students, you know, has put the kids to bed and needs to be quiet, turn the sound down, turn on the captions, good to go, right? Last November, just about this time last year, I had a chance to talk with Sam Johnston. She's a research scientist at CAST, the Center for Applied Special Technology in Boston. They're the folks who actually came up with Universal Design for Learning. And first prize in the drawing at the end today is the book. This is Universal Design for Learning, Theory and Practice. Should I give away a secret, or should I wait until the end? Go ahead. All right, we have to spill it. Go ahead. All right, awesome. This prize is a lovely book. It's got lots of examples in it, nice color printing, lots of web examples, and so forth. And the people who win all these prizes, each of these prizes is worth less than $50, so as state employees, you can gratefully accept the gift. But the person who wins this one will win a lovely book. The rest of you can get the book for free by going to cast.org and entering your name and email address. Get on their marketing list, okay. But that also gives you complete access to the e-version of this book, which is hyperlinked like crazy to examples that you can't click on in the paper book. So I gave away the secret that first prize is probably the prize that everyone else can have too. So you know how it's must be present to win? Everyone who's present wins today on that one, so that's awesome. But I was talking with Sam Johnston. She's a research scientist at CAST, and she said something that was really profound for me, and this is the quotation. We want a situation that's good for everybody. Part of it is thinking about what has to happen at the level of design that makes accommodation less necessary. So Reed's going to make a video for his course. He's going to talk, he's going to show some film clips, so on and so forth. What Sam Johnston said about making accommodation less necessary, universal design allows us to create learning environments and interactions for the broadest possible swath of learners. In doing that, we are automatically making it less likely that a student comes up to us and says, by the way, I can't really engage with the content you created. Could you do something special for me? That's what an accommodation is. And in terms of universal design, this is a tough sell for faculty members. It takes extra work up front. A lot. You're right. Mary Beth is correct. I will argue, though, that over the course of however long you teach a particular class, you will save yourself many-fold in specific accommodations, last-minute scrambling to find something to accommodate somebody, And you will also increase your student satisfaction. And this is the title of the presentation and the conversation we're having today. Secret retention tool. If you are able to keep your students engaged with you beyond the classroom, or if you're teaching online beyond just inside the learning management system, if you can keep them interested in the material, in the class, in interacting with each other, and getting skills that will help them to get jobs, then you will keep more students. We actually have studies from CAST and from the U.S. Department of Education that show at the K-12 and higher education levels that people who implement universal design for learning principles end up with a retention rate that is typically at least 8 to 10% higher than their colleagues who do not. 8 to 10% higher equals my paycheck keeps coming. So, especially in this day and age where we have fewer traditional age freshmen because the birth rate suddenly went down 20 years ago, and it's not going to come, the boom is not going to come back up for another 5, 6, 7 years. Retaining the students whom we already have, that's a huge key for us. At our institution in Chicago, we've made a bet big on universal design for learning. We are actually adopting it as the way we do business on campus. And so let me share with you, through our fictional friend Reed here, some of the ways in which you can do universal design for learning in your own course and as a campus.